Hola y bienvenidos a la Daily Hustle. Soy Enrique Byrnes y presidente es la mejor cerveza. No abate por No Filter Network. Miguelito San Dieguito, not with us today. Will the Thrill, not with us today. But we come on here each and every single morning and salute our boys and each and every one of you properly. Yes, 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 yes. Whoo! Remember this, folks. When we are juiceful, we are useful. And when we are juiceless, we are fucking useless. A very pleasant good morning to you on the 14th day of June, 2024. So I was not going to come on here this morning. I've been trying to figure out the tech, which is, it's always an issue. I think anyone who's ever podcasted or done any kind of online show, YouTube, whatever, we've all deal with technical issues, and a lot of it is our fault. Sometimes it could be the computer, sometimes it could be the internet reception or whatever. So this morning I came up here with the intention of, okay, let's see what we're working with. And I have a setup where, like, here's the iPad. I gently put it right here. We have the computer firing, but it's a MacBook Air that I actually run the show off of. And so I have a plug-in for the MacBook Air that then is like an external adapter where I can hardline, it's almost like an old telephone cord, right? Into that adapter, which gives me insane internet reception. We're talking 1,000 up, 1,000 down, a gig. A legit gig. I just did the speed test. So the problem is, though, that when I plug this thing in, it doesn't always perfectly stay. So I had to rig it a little bit to try to get it in the right spot, which I did. So I end up plugging the thing in. So now we're firing complete internet, no problem. And I could tell because I'm looking at it right now and it's blinking. Well, the issue then becomes two different things. Number one, we got the Focusrite, which is, I'm scared to touch it right now, but it's what this plugs into. The Focusrite then plugs into that external adapter. The other thing that plugs into the external adapter is the Mevo camera, which gives it a beautiful picture, so it's not all grainy and everything else. And hopefully we're rolling to you in 1080 HP or whatever the fuck you call it. I have no idea. But the slots for the USBs on those apparently weren't recognizing, or they were going in and out. So I'm like, this isn't going to work. I wouldn't be able to use this because these USB slots apparently just aren't making it connect. But I have another external adapter, which I plugged into the external adapter, which I then plugged in the Focusrite to that external adapter that was plugged into the other external adapter, and I plugged in the Mevo camera. So here we are for now, right at this moment. I believe we are firing. I can't wait to watch it back a little bit later. Okay, let's hit some pertinent topics. And I really want to close the book on this one article that I read about current players. And I've been beating a dead horse a little bit. I get it. There's things that I've posted on social media from either the Deuces Wild the other night, the Daily Hustle that I did that day, and we breached the topics and whatnot. So one of the things, though, I want you guys to understand this, is part of the Daily Hustle for a long time has been the blog. It was the original, the OG, which what it was. And it's just where I share some unfiltered thoughts, a lot of motivational stuff. I use quotes of the day, and then we explore it, right? And a lot of times it's from personal life experience. Sometimes it could be about Theodore Roosevelt. It could be about Abraham Lincoln. It doesn't matter. So I actually had written a Daily Hustle for today that I'm going to send out for this audience. from the podcasting perspective, I apologize for going over and over and over and over again. But it's what we do is we come on here and we actually share that. So on that note, here we go. Buenos dias. Today is June 14th, 2024. Okay. I love how it's one National League infielder too. One National League infielder said, do you watch the old games on TV? The skill level of the game is so much better now. The infielders are great. They have arm strength. As if the old infielders did. Did this person ever watch Sean Dunston throw a ball across the fucking diamond? Just curious, by the way. Those pitchers back in the day stink. It's almost like this quote was made up. I don't even think a modern day Major League Baseball player would be using this verbiage. One of our AAA guys would have been like the best closer in baseball 15 years ago. Okay. Just an asinine comment. We've talked about that. All right. So I just basically broke this down into 5 things and like 5 points off of that. And as much as I think we need to respect the opinion of the modern ball player, I think it's important we need to remind them of a few things. So I listed those things in this email that is going to go out. Number 1, 15 years ago, Verlander, Scherzer, and Chapman were all at their physical peaks. And they just so happen to be 40 years old now and still cutting your shit up. Number 2, they say dudes are bigger, faster, and stronger now, but one of the main things here is, did you guys forget about the fucking steroid era? We had dudes rolling out of Gold's Gym, juiced up out of their goddamn minds, either looking to shove a baseball up your ass or send it to the fucking moon. Number 3, I'm all for bat flips and celebrations. I think the game needed more flair, and quite honestly, I truly believe players play better when they are playing loose and having fun. It's a more entertaining product. That said, if you tried that shit on Nolan, Randy, or Pedro, they would have stuck a ball in your fucking neck, or at the very least, they would have tried to. Number 4 here. There was an article written in September highlighting the 10 hardest throwers of all time. Will and I went over this article the other night. All 10 on their list through 102 or above, and Chapman at 106 was the only current player at number 3. I got to believe that Paul Skeens, Ben Joyce, and Mason Miller, who have all hit 102 this season, would make this updated list. But they are still 3 to 4 miles per hour off number 2 on the list. Bob Feller, who clocked in at 107. What else about Bob, you ask? Feller also missed 4 years of his career fighting in World War II. Men were just built different back then. Human beings were built different back then. It was a different time, a different mentality. One I could very easily argue was a lot better and had humanity at the forefront and selflessness at the forefront of life. And of course, number 1 on the list should surprise nobody, using both velocity measuring tools from the past and present. Nolan Ryan is officially the hardest thrower of all time at 108. All right, number 5 here. This is just 5 things we wanted to remind the current baseball player. When starters get through 5 innings these days, it's a small miracle. The fact is, we have trained a bunch of lab rats to throw as hard as they can. And well, guess what? That's what's happening. Yes, you got a bunch of dudes throwing 100, but if you think about the quality and the pitch execution, and if you happen to think that it's better now than back in the day, you're out of your fucking mind. I get it. I may come across as a bit of a get off my lawn guy, especially because this is the 3rd time I'm talking about it. But in order to understand the present and ideally shape our best future, it's imperative to respect the past by analyzing the successes and failures, and then make necessary adjustments going forward. EB, I saw Mason Miller the other night throw a first pitch slider. And it actually wasn't the other night, it was the other day, to Jackson Merrill. Jackson Merrill, at 21 years old, then buggy whipped that bitch into the right field bleachers for a Padres walk-off victory. The only thing that I could think of is, how in the fuck do you throw 102 miles per hour and then get beat on a breaking ball? If they get you with your best pitch, fine. But my goodness, no. If you're in a 10-pitch at bat where Jackson Merrill has got the head out on your heater and he's fouling balls off left and right, okay, now it's time to go to the breaking ball. But to throw a first pitch breaking ball, it wasn't even a bad one, it's down and in, right into the bat speed of Jackson Merrill is just fucking asinine. It really is. Now, look, it's easy for me to critique because, of course, you're going to say Jackson Merrill's going to go up there. He's looking for a 102 mile per hour heater. How was he able to stay on that? Look, sometimes as a hitter, you just react. I have told this story several times before. When I was playing in the playoffs in 2007, I'm facing Carlos Barbal. He was 98, 99 miles per hour. I get up there. He threw me a first pitch slider that I hit 3/4 of the way up the bleachers at Wrigley Field. I wasn't looking for a slider. I just reacted to it. It was fastball, fastball, fastball. Oh, what's that? Boom. And you see it. And you react. So, for all these great pitchers that throw 100 fucking miles per hour plus in the current day, do yourselves a favor. Use that pitch. Velocity does matter. There is something to it. But my goodness, the 50% breaking ball rate on guys that throw 100 is just fucking stupid. No other way to put it. All right, let's hit a few of the hot Daily Hustle topics, top articles that I found this morning while perusing my Apple News. Caitlin Clark accused of pretty privilege by host of The View. The View star Sonny Hostin, a lifelong basketball fan, appreciates the attention that Caitlin Clark has brought to the WNBA, but she doesn't think her stardom is based solely on her athletic ability. In a recent segment of the ABC daytime talk show, the table of co-hosts discussed comments made by ex-ESPN host Jameel Hill in a Los Angeles Times article that Clark's race and sexuality have played a role in her popularity. Quote, if Caitlin Clark is a vehicle that will bring this sport that I loved so much for so long to little 5-year-old girls playing in Harlem, then I say yes, bravo. I have no problem with that, Hostin said. Quote, with that being said, I do think that there's a thing called pretty privilege, and there's a thing called white privilege, and there's a thing called tall privilege. And we have to acknowledge that. So part of this is about race. If you think about the Brittany Griners of the world, why did she have to play in Russia? Because they won't pay her. Okay, let's stop there because we'll talk about the privilege thing. Is there white privilege? Of course there is. And guess what? There's also black privilege and Latino privilege. And then there's also white unprivilege and black unprivilege and Latino unprivilege. Is there tall privilege? Of course there's tall privilege. Is there tall unprivilege? Yes, there's tall unprivilege. Is unprivilege a word? I don't even know. Is there short privilege? Sure, there's short privilege. Is there short unprivilege? Look, there's benefits and detractors to all things in life. No matter what our race is, no matter how tall we are, no matter what language we speak, no matter what our religious beliefs are, there is benefits to certain things in certain situations, and there are certainly detractors. When it comes to Caitlin Clark in this situation, the fact that 70% of the WNBA is not white makes her a little bit of a outlier in the sense that she's relatively pretty. She is white. She's really fucking good. She drains from half court. I don't care. And I think I've done a really good job of this in my life. I guess I could say thank you to my parents for this upbringing, whether it was the fact that my first best friend in life was a black dude that I didn't even think about it. It wasn't, I didn't look at the color of his skin. It was just, we just like to hang and we like to play. And another one of my best friends from an earlier age, about kindergarten. So it's preschool, my best friend was black. Get to kindergarten, my best friend was Mexican. I didn't think about it. Not at all. Never, ever, ever, ever. We just played. And that's it. Yet here we are, 40 years fucking later. And all I got to read about, everything always comes back to race and privilege and everything. No, hold on a second. Caitlin Clark was a really, 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 really good basketball player. Probably the best that's ever played college basketball, or at least one of them, right? So she has this target on her as she goes to the WNBA, which apparently 33%, and I'm just going by the numbers here, of the WNBA are lesbians. I don't give a shit if you're a lesbian, if you're not a lesbian, if you're straight. That's not of concern of me at all. I care about the product that's going on the court. And even in Caitlin Clark's case, look, I care about how she's doing on the court, how she's impacting the games. And don't get me wrong, she's still having a great rookie season if you look at all the overall numbers, but she's getting so much ridicule from outside sources that it's becoming too much. And now they're trying to demonize her for the fact that she's white or the fact that she's straight. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Whoopi Goldberg, I love how I'm talking about The View here. Whoopi Goldberg actually said that she believes Clark's popularity is based on the success she's had in her record-breaking career as the NCAA's all-time leading scorer. Men or women, by the way, and not a race. I love this. Quote, now listen, when people say stuff like that, that is like people saying, oh, you got in this Ivy League school because you were black, or you got into this because this or that. The girl earned this. There are great players, but nobody else has done this. Goldberg went on to suggest that Wilson Sporting Goods, who recently signed Clark to a multi-year deal for signature basketball line, should also create a series of basketballs for other players in the WNBA. Quote, there are some extraordinary players, she said, and Clark is part of the reason that people are now paying attention. Okay, Clark is damn near all the reason that I'm paying attention. And I'm not even still trying really to pay attention. It just gets shoved down my throat every single day. I guess I got to stop clicking on the Caitlin Clark WNBA articles. But as far as other players getting their own shoe or basketball line or whatever, look, hey, the money that a company is willing to pay is going to be based on their ability to sell shoes, to sell basketballs, to sell apparels. And if another woman in the WNBA deserves or has earned the ability to sell all this shit, guess what? They're going to get a contract too. But for now, as far as I know, it's Caitlin fucking Clark. So it's such a polarizing issue. Obviously, she has been targeted by other women in the WNBA. The hip check thing just made me want to throw up last week. So the saga there continues. In Utah, by the way, the new Utah team has officially picked a name for their first season. Here is the article. It says the NHL's new team based in Salt Lake City will be known as ... the Utah Hockey Club. Wow. Seriously? I guess the Washington Commanders set precedent by taking their time to pick a new name. And I do think it's important to involve the fan base. I like the Yetis. I do. I mean, the Blizzards were considered. There's a few other names in there. The Venom. I don't like the Venom. But something snow related. I guess. Look, you call them whatever you want. This is definitely the political way to go about doing it. You take your time. And they're voting on a mascot as well. I mean, if you're the fucking Yetis and you have the Yeti mascot and this, big, furry, mean but happy looking thing comes out. I mean, I don't know. Anyhow, so there you go. The Utah Hockey Club. They will announce a new name by the 25-2026 season. Their colors are kind of cool. You got like a baby blue, black, I don't know, very no filter-esque. Utah Hockey Club. Welcome to the NHL. Game balls here. This is something interesting. Aaron Boone's new tradition. A handwritten note after each Yankees win. I like this a lot. Marcus Stroman was sitting in a blue folding chair in front of his locker in the visitors' clubhouse at Kauffman Stadium. The New York Yankees had just beaten the Kansas City Royals 10-1 on Monday, and Stroman played a major role, tossing 5 2/3 shutout innings after his teammates finished another Rashes post-game ceremony, awarding their Player of the Game championship belt to Austin Wells, who had clubbed a 3-run homer. Manager Aaron Boone tapped Stroman on the shoulder. He handed him a baseball, except it wasn't just any baseball. It was dirty. There was a handwriting on it too. Game ball number 48, another strong tone setter. 6 shutty, Aaron Boone. I thought a lot about this. Whether or not to hand out game balls, so to speak, to our kids with let them play. And I coach a 12U team. Well, part of me was like, I don't like alienating one kid and saying this is the reason we won. I like to give recognition to 5 different things that went well. So let's say, for example, it was Martine, fantastic play at third base. Jesse, dude, I know you hit a homer, great homer, but guess what? You picking up that RBI, runner on third base, less than 2 outs with the sac fly to center early in the game. Awesome. Jacob Miller, 5 shutout innings, great. But you know what really impresses me? 0 walks. Fantastic. So I go through things like that at the end of the game to bring recognition to multiple players. I'm liking the Aaron Boone. You know what? Here's a ball. And I'm not even sure if this is how he does it. Number one, the fact that the Yankees are doing a belt ceremony for the player of their game after their victories is fucking awesome. Just the boys be able to come together and do that. The camaraderie that brings is next level. And then on top of that, to have the manager come with the game ball, who I imagine he gives it to his player of the game. And that's what the formula for a winning baseball team is. It's simple. If you have guys that get along in the clubhouse, that get along outside of the clubhouse, that have skill, that have the ability to, let me chase something. So I just think it's a great strategy by Aaron Boone, and the Yankees have been absolutely fucking killing it. The incredible record-setting Tyler Rogers stat that nobody is talking about. I'm like, what could this be? The stage was set in the 8th inning Wednesday afternoon. San Francisco Giants right-hander Tyler Rogers was attempting to preserve a 5-3 lead. Yordan Alvarez was one of the league's most talented and dangerous hitters, represented by the tying run as he stepped to the plate for the Houston Astros. In Alvarez's previous at-bat, Logan Webb threw him an ankle-high slider and got the chase swing he was seeking. Webb did not get the result he was seeking, however. Alvarez somehow sent a backspin drive over the center field fence for a home run. If you haven't seen this thing, go check it out. It is fucking insane. It was nasty. Down and away, Alvarez just boom, down on it, through it, gone. Very impressive. Rogers facing Alvarez with the game on the line might have felt less a pitcher and more like a Tiger tamer. He threw a ball on the first pitch. It would have been totally understandable to his teammates, to his coaches, and to 35,000 fans at the Giants' waterfront ballpark if Rogers had thrown 3 more balls. Instead, he fired a 1-0 strike from his submarine delivery. He fielded a weak ground ball. He started a 1-6-3 double play to end the inning. And after 3 more outs from closer Camilo Doval in the 9th, the Giants pocketed their victory and a best-of-3 series win. Most important pitch of the game, Giants manager Bob Melvin said, of the double play in the 8th. So important, in fact, that it actually set a major league record. The confrontation with Alvarez was merely the latest example of what's becoming an unprecedented season for the Giants' longest tenured pitcher and setup man. Rogers leads the major leagues with 35 appearances. He's issued, ready for this? Just 1 walk all season. And guess what? It was intentional. According to the Elias Sports Bureau, the previous modern major league record for consecutive appearances to start a season without an unintentional walk has belonged to the Detroit Tigers left-hander Jamie Walker in 2006. Walker, the irony, pitched in 34 games that season before he issued the first free pass of his own free will. Now, the record belongs to Rogers, and the 33-year-old is making the strongest case yet that he belongs in the National League bullpen for the All-Star game. He's got great touch on both of his pitches, and he can make them look very different too. Melvin said, you see the upshoot slider, you see the wrap slider, you see the sinker that goes down, and the one that moves side to side. He got a really good feel for where the ball is going right now. So, Tyler Rogers, let's see here. He's got a 23-1 strikeout to walk ratio. I mean, this good for him. I mean, he's nasty. He's straight Chad Bradford-esque. If you go ahead, I mean, look at that delivery. He's literally scraping his knuckles on the ground. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about here for a second is there's an article. I read the whole thing earlier. It was Jason Stark. It's fantastic. And it's got this wild and wacky article that he puts out on The Athletic. Yusei Kikuchi's crazy collision. I mean, this was nuts. Yusei Kikuchi would have made a sensational NFL cornerback. Or if the Maple Leafs need someone to unleash a good hip check next season, they should keep him in mind. Hey, And when is WrestleMania? If the WWE Poobras are looking for somebody to sprint out of the tunnel and level your Undertaker after he tumbles out of the ring, we just have found the guy for him. Wait, you say. What the heck are you talking about? How did we drag the NFL, NHL, and WWE into this column? You're wondering, okay, here we go to explain. It says, let's take you back to Sunday in Oakland. Kikuchi was pitching for the Blue Jays that day. So the odds of him turning, or was not pitching for the Blue Jays that day. So the odds of him turning into the lead item in the next weird and wild column were right up there with the odds of him winning the next Nobel Peace Prize. But then this happened. So a pop-up's hit. And Tyler Soderstrom comes over from first base to try to catch it. Well, Kikuchi sees the ball coming. I'm not sure if he saw Tyler. So as the ball goes up, you see him running out of the way. And there was a couple of Blue Jays that were trying to vacate the area. Now, remember, there's no railing on the dugouts in Oakland. It's just wide open. So Kikuchi runs out and he fucking levels Tyler as he's going to make the play. Now, eventually, obviously, they called the batter out. And Kikuchi cost him that. Look, it's just one of those things. Then I guess Jason Stark tried to dig up any time before that this may have happened, because the way you log this is that pop up to the first baseman, out, fan interference. So the question that Jason Stark brings up, well, the Kikuchi is not a fan, so I guess you just call it player interference, whatever. And then he was trying to recall a time where something like this has happened before. It actually used to happen a lot more than you could have ever imagined, because bullpens used to be put in play. Now, Stark overlooks this a little bit, but I remember the one time where the ball was hit down the line at Wrigley Field, and I forget who it was. I think the Cubs catcher was sitting there, and he didn't move at all. And so the fielder ran and had to avoid the bullpen catcher and then go pick up the ball. And this was the infamous recreation that Harold Reynolds and I did on MLB Tonight, where he's like, Byrnesy, what would have you done if you were in left field going after that ball and the bullpen catcher had not moved? Well, I showed him. Now, I don't think anybody thought that I was going to hit Harold as hard as I did. And I don't even think I hit him that hard. I think Harold flopped it a little bit, but it made for some fucking awesome television. So, yeah, just a really, really weird, wild, and wacky play that took place in Oakland over the weekend. Okay, the Orioles have a streak going, and this is nuts. Their amazing AL East series streak could be the most impressive run of the divisional era. So basically, you got to go back 432 days to the start of last season. The Orioles have played 21 consecutive series against teams in their division without losing any of them. They've won 15 of those series. They've split 6. But to lose none of them against a division like this is just astonishing. I agree. I mean, the fact that you had, I think it was every AL East team above 500 last year, and you're still not losing series. You got the Yankees, the Red Sox. You got to go to New York. You got to go to Boston. Tampa's always a bitch. Toronto, north of the border, is not easy to play. And here are the O's. They have not lost a series within their division in well over a year now. They will have a massive test, and I will be paying attention to it next week in New York. They go and play the division leading Yankees. And, well, they will have that streak put on the line. I say it ends there. I really do. I think it's done. The Yankees are fucking fire. I think the Yankees are going to win the World Series. They got too many good things going, at least right now. And I it's no filter. I do whatever I want to do, say whatever I want to say. But the Yankees right now look like the most complete team in baseball. They really do. The Phillies, you can make the argument, sure. Yeah, we'll see. That'd be a fun matchup in October if we are able to see it, the Phillies and the Yankees. But, dude, look, the O's are right up there. The Yankees staff has been next level. Boston Celtics, 1 win away from an NBA championship. Not sure how many people are paying attention there. U.S. Open is off and rolling. I know Hank Haney has done a lot of good things talking about the field, and I don't know exactly what's happening there. We'll get a little recap of that over, as we get into next week. Major League Baseball, let's just take a look at the matchups, and then we are officially done here. All right, today, Friday, June the 14th, we got the Cards at the Cubs. Daytime matinee at Wrigley. Yet the Yankees travel to Boston. Should be a good test for them. And the Yankees playing as well. Gill on the mound for the dudes in pinstripes. Got a 2.04 ERA. I mean, 8-1. Look at these numbers. He's 8-1, a 2.04 ERA, 75 innings pitched, 90 strikeouts, a .93 whip. I mean, that is next level. Luis Angel Gil from Asua in La Dominicana. And he's going up against Brian Bello. Miami is at Washington tonight. Philly is at Baltimore. Should be a very good series of Suarez against Bradish. Cleveland's in Toronto. San Diego is at the New York Metropolitans. Tampa Bay in Atlanta. Atlanta just 36-30 this year. They've had all kinds of struggles after getting off to a hot start. In Tampa Bay, who typically is good every year, below 500, 33-36. Detroit Tigers fighting to get back to 500 are in Houston this weekend, going up against the Astros, who are fighting for relevancy. Oakland A's at the Twins. Oakland 26-45. Minnesota 37-32. Cincinnati trying to get back to 500. They're 33-35. They go to Milwaukee. Pittsburgh is at Colorado. Pittsburgh is 32-36. Colorado is 24-44. 20 games below 500. Arizona Diamondbacks keep fighting to get back to 500 as well. 33-36. Christian Walker, big night last night. Dude can absolutely fucking rake. The White Sox, I'm pretty sure that's the worst record in baseball. 18-52. Good golly. Kansas City coming off the big victory against the Yankees. 40-30 now, 10 games above 500. The Dodgers are where they're playing. So they go to Chavez Ravine. What a tough part of the schedule for the Royals. Yeah, the Yankees at home, who always travel well with their fan base, and then have to immediately go on the road to LA. Texas is in Seattle. They're 33-35. The Mariners 40-31 sitting atop the NL West. And then the San Francisco Giants at home against the Angels. The Giants are 34-35. The Angels in Ron Washington 26-42. Let's take a look at those standings. Let's see here. Boom. I don't need news. I need standings. All right. Yankees on top, 49-22. Then it's the O's at 45-23. The Red Sox at 35-34. The Blue Jays at 33-35. And the Rays at 33-36. Obviously, a very tight division. Although the Rays, I mean, they come back to 500 and still that's going to be tough goings. They're 15 games out of first place. The Guardians, probably the most surprising team this season. 43-23, 20 games over 500. You knew they'd be good, but I didn't think that Stephen Vogt would have them playing this well. Good job by him. Kansas City Royals are 5 games back at 40-30. Then it's the Twins, the Tigers, and the White Sox in the cellar. The Mariners, I mean, this is the AL West, certainly not the best division in baseball. 40-31. That's the Rangers at 33-35, just 5.5 back. The Astros, if the Astros get hot, they could pull this off. There's just not enough good teams in the West. The Angels right now, that's basically a win when you play them. And so are the A's. They're both 26 wins apiece for the Angels and the A's. The Phillies, 46-22. I think it's the second best record in baseball behind the New York Yankees. And then it's the Braves 9 back, the Nationals 32-36, 14 back. They've played better than I thought. -22 on a run differential, not terrible. The Mets have not been great, 30-37. Their run differential is not bad, though. They're only -28 as well. And then the Marlins, 23-45, -103 on the run differential. They are dog shit. A lot worse than I thought they were going to be. Brewers on top of the division in the NL Central, 40-28. Then it's the Cardinals climbing back into it, 33-34. They got off to a really slow start. The Reds are right there, 33-35. The Cubs are right there, 33-36. If they could make up some ground on the Brewers, that could end up being a very interesting division. And the Dodgers, 42-28, 6 games up on the Padres, 7.5 up on the Giants. Pods have played pretty well, 37-35. Then you got the Diamondbacks creeping at 33-36, and then the Rockies 24-44. The wild card picture, if it ended today, you would have the Yankees, Guardians, and Mariners, all division winners, and then the wild card teams would be the Orioles, the Royals, and the Twins. Huh. That gotta be fun. In the National League, it'd be the Phillies, Dodgers, and Brewers, the division leaders. And check this shit out, Giant fans. The wild cards would be the Braves, the Padres, and the Giants. But check this out. The Giants currently are tied with the Cardinals for that last spot. But this is where it gets really, really interesting. The Reds, Diamondbacks, Cubs, Pirates, Nationals, and Mets are all within 3 games. And the Mets are the ones that are 3 games back. The Nationals are only a game and a half back. Pirates game and a half. Cubs game and a half. Excuse me. Cubs 1 game. Diamondbacks 1 game. You got to love the wild card. It just keeps teams relevant. And you get to the postseason, and obviously anything can happen. Okay, 10:15 a.m. Pacific time. You guys want to check the weather? I mean, really, I just kind of come on here and do what I would be doing anyway. Where's my weather app? I mean, how is the weather app not front and center? Well, you just hear Truckee, 69 degrees, a high of 73 today. Gorgeous day out in the greater Lake Tahoe area, low of 48. Half Moon Bay, California, 57 degrees, high of 65, a low of 49. There's 2 home bases. New York City, Viro, although Viro, you don't live there anymore. How about the Bananas, by the way, going to Fenway Park, and Jesse, our guy Jesse, fulfilling his dream of playing in Fenway. I have not heard how that went. I got to imagine it went great, but that's just really cool, man. I mean, this is a guy he's driven, and he absolutely loves the sport of baseball. He is a fucking entertainer. He is somebody who's worked his ass off, and he had his dreams fulfilled. He told me, sit right here on the video call, this is like in 2021, 2022. He's like, look, he goes, my goal with this is to play in Fenway Park by 2025. Check. Jess, felicidades. New York City, 85 degrees. Air quality alert, by the way. Yeah, no bueno. Looks like we'll have some thunderstorms there later on. Phoenix, Kowalski, Michelle Drew, 94 degrees, high of 107. Fuck that. Low of 79. Excessive heat warnings going on. Auburn, California, the Montgomerys, Griffins, Riegers, Kolenkos, Nunces, the rest of the Smash crew. 74 degrees, high of 87, low of 57. Western States has got to be coming up. Man, I'm sure they'd love a high of 87 on the day of that race. Usually it's well into the hundreds. Duluth, Minnesota. Gene, good morning to you. 70 degrees, high of 72, low of 54 out in Duluth. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Amo, 89 degrees, high of 92, low of 68. Looks like abundant sunshine. Gary Tagliafico, long live the Peninsula Mets. 62 degrees, high of 71, low of 50. Gorgeous day on the peninsula. Lucas, Texas. How about Grapeford, Texas? Pop Art. 88 degrees, high of 93, low of 70. Severe weather alert as well. What's the severe weather? Should we check it out? Severity unknown. Description: the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality has issued an ozone action day for the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Atmospheric conditions are expected to be favorable, producing high levels of ozone air pollution in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Fuck that. Las Vegas, Nevada, 95 degrees, high of 106. Michael, good morning to you. Low of 77. Savannah, Georgia, the land of the Platanos. Just mentioned Jesse. By the way, a little shout out to Emily Cole, too, who's been, I'd just say, the person that's kept this whole thing together. Emily is Jesse's wife. She's an absolute angel. So, Emily, congrats on you helping Jesse fulfill his dreams. I'm sure it was part your dream as well to get to Fenway. So, again, really cool. 91 degrees out in Savannah. Missed that place. Fresno, California. Batoyan Brothers, 81 degrees, high of 99. Bakersfield, Buckwheat. What's up, dude? 99 degrees as well, currently 83. Hemet, California. Stephen Luker, high of 95 today, currently 79. And, well, that's all we got. Okay, I'm done talking to myself. James Allen quote for today before we get out of here on thought and purpose. Until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment. With the majority, the bark of thought is allowed to drift upon the ocean of life. Aimlessness is a vice, and such drifting must not continue for him who would steer clear of catastrophe and destruction. They who have no central purpose in their life fall an easy prey to petty worries, fears, troubles, and self-pityings, all of which are indications of weakness, which lead just as surely as deliberately planned sins through a different route to failure, unhappiness, and loss. For weakness cannot persist in a power-evolving universe. A man should conceive of a legitimate purpose in his heart and set out to accomplish it. He should make this purpose the centralizing point of his thoughts. It may take the form of spiritual ideal, or it may be worldly object, according to his nature at the time being. But whichever it is, he should steadily focus his thought forces upon the object which he has set before him. He should make this purpose his supreme duty and should devote himself to its attainment, not allowing his thoughts to wander away into ephemeral fancies, longings, and imaginings. This is the royal road of self-control and true concentration of thought. Even if he fails again and again to accomplish his purpose, as he necessarily must until weakness is overcome, the strength of character gained will be the measure of his true success. And this will form a new starting point for future power and triumph. James Allen, folks. By the way, I think I totally blew the title sponsor at the beginning of the show. So we are sponsored by Bet Online, the number one online gambling destination. Go to Bet Online for the new latest news, scores, odds, predictions, all of it on Bet Online. Don't forget to put in the promo code BLEAV, capital BLEAV, to get 50% off your first deposit. And go to ericbyrnes.com to pick up the brand new edition of the Let Them Play Parenting and Coaching Guide to Youth Sports, as well as an effort list, a Daily Hustle 222. Grab yourself a footboard and hold on a second. One of these beautiful double bird flippies you can get as well. It's not telling the world to fuck off. It's just basically saying, you know what? I'm going to do me. I'm going to stay focused on everything that James Allen's talking about. Fuck the distractions, the naysayers, the haters, the critics, and just stay with it. That's it. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. Buena suerte to the Dodgers tonight. Biscuit and the Dodgers going for a Truckee Little League championship. Should be fun to watch. All right. Everyone have a great day. See ya!